It's May 27th, 2023. I went for a run this morning. I began the day with, I watched a rerun. I had taped the coronation of Charles to hear what the Archbishop at the stations of that particular symbolic cross is the one that they sent me to as a child. Well, I've spent time here in America. I don't know who sent me there. Lewis did. Um, I realized that while William and again, he's an HRH now, so I don't know how that changes, or if he's still referred to as Prince William, but he and I are near the same age. Um, and for what I have going on at Sagas in New York, um, with a problematic Peter or Lewis, I do see that loyalties laid on the side of Lewis, which is my father. That is clear and apparent. Um, Again, I have clock service. I'm part of the magical 10% left on this planet. Um, and somehow it's been whatever and whatever. And I'm watching this Eric character get mad at this Charles character on this Xmen portrayal of some dark Phoenix event that may or may not have happened. And I'm very interestingly watching because when I was younger, um, I went to the only superhero in one of Grandma's 10 that arrived on the same date that I did, except a different year. And I was instructed to look to him as my superhero. He was a man of the water. So I did. He was my closest link to a superhero. And that's how we were addressed. That's how I was instructed to address him, that he was the family's superhero. Except he died at age 40, early death. Cancer, to be more specific. Um, and so now I'm watching these movies. I know during my season, I've had a problem with some, I don't know what to call him, but I grew up in a protected whaling town, surrounded by something that let us know what safe words were for this passage. And I am just so unclear why, when it was magic and clock service for S.H.I.E.L.D., why that level was not respected and I was not brought in and up to a respective RH. I was inside the fold of the American RH. I do not understand how a RH I don't understand how an abomination happened. Really, I don't. Let's just be really clear. An ABO group, and then ABO put at the forefront of before a nation. I'm really unclear how they took me off RH path and somehow cast me out. They do address it in this movie, kind of sort of in a not really way, very family style. Um, and I'm looking for these clues, and I'm like, where does loyalty lie? Well, it looks like it lies within Lewis. as far as my children and I are concerned. And my first son is named after the 107 latitude clock. Just so this way, all in all, it's fair and square. The second son I was going to name Charles. Jason said I wasn't allowed to. So, whatever on that. So, Daniel he is. I don't want to get in trouble with like international rescue. I see also on Memorial Day. Well, I would have loved to have been on the Intrepid last night to watch Top Gun. I had nobody to share that with. I would have taken my son, but I don't know how to, I don't have money to get on the train and get there. Um, Even though I have a free pass to get on the Intrepid at this point, I don't have money, I don't have fare to get there. Would have loved to have taken him to the marching band today. Again, would have loved to take him to the air show today. I don't have money for admittance, and I have no ride to any of these things in order to like celebrate my superheroes on the Eric side of things. So this is increasingly problematic, and I'm a god. Like they recognized by clock service and magical and the mystical service as a god. Like what do they look like in the flesh? So and it's a special timepiece. There was supposed to be special ceremony, there was supposed to be special induction, supposed to be a lot of special things that Alexander and I have not had like any sort of line into the reality that was expected for what we bring forth to the world in whatever we are. But here it is on this.
Save the old Fred, Charles, and stay out of my way.
I'm sorry for what you did. But I can't let you go in there.
You're always so...
So this is Eric. Eric. Hey, right, yeah, I don't know. That's how it kind of seems at the moment. And then the wheelhouse with Charles and whatever that represents. And this like anger back and forth. And this warning. But again, there's a Peter problem inside my very real abomination for bastardization. I mean, it's clock service. It's like top priority. So I don't understand how at RS or RMS it was ever messed with. I don't. I don't know who is involved.
Sorry, Charles. And there's always a speech. But nobody cares anymore.
We do this here, now, they'll see us as monsters. Violent freaks fighting on the streets of New York.
What did I tell you?
Damn it, man, your homeland will be gone. Everything you care about.
Save it.
Don't do this, Eric. Killing Jean will not bring Raven back.
The girl dies.
Except this is clock service. The girl's the most important piece, along with the child, because that's your stitch in time. And that's the way that other things are run. Yeah, isn't this always the way? Eric now has a train behind him after train wreck. And let's listen to their banter.
You cast me out. Now you come here to kill me?
That's right.
Except excluding the two Erics that I met in this analog world, this digital version of that digital version of Eric in America, North America, did not provide adequate husbandry or adequate RH, like seen all the way through to the wedding. Instead, there was some kind of abomination swap. I don't know how. I don't know why. I don't know whose games these are. But I certainly did not willingly partake in it.
And you can even do that? Let me show you how.
Now, what's really interesting during this dark Mayor Adams looks kind of like Nick Fury, although I don't even know if that's appropriate at this point. This woman looks very much like the head of the sanitation department in New York City for me. And I'm like, well, that's really curious. The sanitation department. I mean, again, it makes sense in New York City. But, So I'm just going to rewind this because there was a scene on this that I thought really interesting because um, part of the machine where you walk through, um, there were no females present. And in fact, in one part, it was just the weatherman, Father of Time, and myself. Now, I know some people get stuck on familial names. I understand that completely. When I disappeared to Florida after the phone call on the Blue Princess phone, for whatever that was about, with when I returned in a black SUV, not quite sure. I can't really remember the trip home. Don't really remember the trip or what happened there. Um, just remember the walk up the driveway to meet my mother. Um, the college advisor wanted to meet my mother face to face and drop me off and make sure I walked through the door safely. Um, that much I remember. And that was returning me to the Glen. Um, there's that. And then there's this piece now, where I don't know if this ties into one of the hospital visits that they forced me into in North America. Like, again, um, I used to think of the North Americans like superheroes. I expected to be kept safe amongst them. Has not gone according to plan for certain, as far as showing one hospitality and appreciating the gifts of the God children that were blessed into a specific area. Um, I don't know what's going on at Abomination, at ABO, and then Nation. Really, I don't. And taking care of their 10% magical something else. I don't feel like I've been taken care of, not to the degree for which a god would expect. That's for certain.
This is what you wanted to show me?
No. This is what I want to show you.
As far as the movies are concerned, it looks to me like a lot of documents between the larger general public for all the mistakes that have been made so they can explain to each other without like killing each other off. Okay? I don't want that right now. Thank you.
What entered you in space was not a solar flare. And it was not an accident. It was drawn to you.
What was it?
A pure and unimaginably powerful cosmic force. We saw it enter you in space. We were there, Jean, following that force.
Why?
Because it's the spark that gave life to the universe, and the flame that consumed my world. What remains of my people searched the stars for that power to control it, but it destroyed everything it ever came into contact with. Until you.
Why me?
Because you're stronger than you know. Because you're special, Jean.
Yeah, at ABO group, it is a special gene. It is a special type, also mixed with astronomical purposes at special timing. It then becomes, it's not terrestrial necessarily, it's that extraterrestrial component that makes the magic and the shield different than the rest. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza, it's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.